Dating during the holidays. It can be stressful, and this time of year, many people might be wondering whether Thanksgiving is the right time to introduce their new special someone to their family.
Sabrina Lorbiecki is a local professional matchmaker from It's Just Lunch. She's here with advice now, and the big question, is now the right time to invite somebody to meet your family? How do we definitively answer this question?
Well, I think it starts with an open and honest conversation with your date. There is no magic number of months or days that you're talking to somebody or dating, but when you get the invitation, sit down with your date and talk about it.
And if your date really wants to go and you really want them to go, you go. But what if your date really wants to go and you're like, I'm not quite ready yet? Because that could send the message to your date is like, you're not as committed as they are.
Sure. All of those things are valid points. And you just want to, again, sit down and talk about it. And if you are nervous, talk about what is the venue going to be? How long is the event? What does the event entail? Is it a small number of people for a short amount of time? Is it a large number of people and it's an all-day thing?
How do those factors factor into a decision? Would you say if it's a small group of people and it's a short amount of time, then maybe if you're hesitant, you can bring them along?
I think it depends upon yourself and how your date feels. Some people, if it's a bigger gathering, you might feel more comfortable because it's not as intense about just the two of you.
Intimate, right?
Right? You know, versus if you are somebody that has a very, very large personality, maybe a really small group of people, that would make you more nervous. So just talking about it and being acquainted with how long am I going to be there? What are your family traditions? Or what type of a gathering is it?
Is your drunk uncle going to be there, and will he say inappropriate things that make us both uncomfortable?
You know, my mind's going a couple places, like a holiday party or something. From what you were just describing is what I'm thinking about. You take somebody to the holiday party, but then taking somebody to the family dinner, that's kind of a whole different deal. Right. And knowing when is the right time, knowing what the nuances of your relationship are. But something else that I think people, you're going to meet so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. And you're like, well, Uncle Fred likes to drink a lot. Jan likes to talk a lot. Like, you set them up already to, like, prejudge what the situation's going to be like. Is that a bad idea to do that? Or would you rather just kind of let them come in blind and say, all right, figure it out?
I think that there's a 50-50, right? I mean, don't spill every negative thing right away. But make that person comfortable. So make sure that they know the small little nuances, but also have that opportunity with your date so that they know if that person is cornering you, how they can come in and kind of, you know, save the day. Come over here, let's go look at the dessert tray. Or, oh my gosh, my aunt and uncle have the coolest, you know, view from their back room. Let's go look at that.
Give the old little wink wink when you need to be rescued. Okay, so let's say that you've decided to take your date or your significant other with you to the party or to the family gathering. That's nerve-wracking for that person to come into like a family gathering. So what does that person do to make themselves in the best light, look in the best light,
putting your best
foot forward, right? I mean, is it as simple as like bringing a bottle of wine or a box of chocolates?
Well, I always feel that being prepared is the best way that you're going to feel, you know, in your best light, right? Putting your best foot forward, as we said. So whether that's bringing whoever is hosting a gift, you know, whether it's something local, fresh cut flowers, something that kind of represents you as well as maybe your relationship, but also being ready with some things to talk about. You know, somebody might ask you a question about what do you do for work? Kind of get that little speech prepared in your mind, or where was your first date? Or if you get really nervous, you ask the questions. Tell me about so-and-so as a child, or what was their favorite food, or your favorite, you know, family game that you guys play on holidays. Something to kind of get the focus off of you a little bit.
I think that's super smart, because I don't think people necessarily always think about that, and they get so nervous in the situation that they maybe won't say anything, and then Aunt Marge is like, oh, well, he was nice, but he didn't say much.
Or everything is I, because you get nervous and they're like, who's this person only talking about themselves, showing no interest in the rest of us at the table.
And sometimes take a step back if you are the family, because lots of times when people are really interested, that's what they do. And at It's Just Lunch, I talk about that a lot. If your date is only talking about themselves, it's because they're really interested in you. So they want that family to know everything about themselves.
Now, that's an interesting way to look at that, because I would have taken it the other way, that like the person's too egocentric or whatever.
And they just get a little nervous, I think, because you don't know what to ask a group of people, but you know about yourself.
What about drinking at these things?
Well, good question. I think everybody...
I mean, I can see that going south quickly, but you got to kind of read the room a little bit on that too, I suppose, right?
And I think it's just like a work event. If everyone is having a cocktail and you feel comfortable having a cocktail, by all means. But if you don't, that's okay too. There are so many different options right now on the market. And if you don't feel comfortable, then bring that as your host gift, right?
That's
something
smart.
Non-alcoholic or, you know, a punch or whatever the case may be.
Okay, any thoughts on how, if Chris is coming with his date who I don't know to my house, how can I as the host make that person feel welcome?
Well, I think Chris could do a little bit of a job saying, hey, here are a couple things about my date in case the conversation has a lull that maybe you could interject.
Okay.
But also your date, and you should have that conversation. Give me a couple things I could talk about, you know, and stay away from the big topics like we all know. But talk about, you know...
Wait, don't talk politics? What? So what religion are you?
Right, yes, exactly. But talk more about, what are you going to do this winter? What are some fun travel tips that you... trips, pardon me, that you want to go do?
Yeah,
you know,
smart.
Something fun.
Okay.
Clear expectations going in. It seems like that's key here.
Sabrina, thank you.
Of course. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
If you would like more of Sabrina's help finding a match, we have posted her contact information at minnesotalive.com.